All right, y'all. Me and River out here in Black Flat, Texas, following my buddy Clint Sism. I came up here to pick up a snake from him. He had a fatty, and got it picked up, and it is a tank. Super tickled with that one. I got that one for my buddy Shan Garcia. Gonna get this thing skinned and cleaned, ready for him to eat. I'll get the skin taken care of, get it tanned for him, and laid out on a board, make it all fancy pants. But nonetheless, Clint and his buddy asked us if we wanted to go look at some potential den ground real quick, see if we can pick up some more snakes. So, a little intro here for a potential video we might try to put together. Not sure if we'll get one out of it or not, but I've got an intro in the bank. So here we go. We'll show you what we find. Let's go. Okay, well, the wind noise is atrocious here, so doing a voiceover, and yeah, we're just walking down on a den, and with it windy like this, you don't really expect to find a whole lot of snakes out, and they met our expectations. There wasn't a whole lot of snakes out. It's complicated with the wind like this because, for one, you can't hear the snakes rattle, and two, you look for any kind of movement. Of course, with the grass and everything blowing around in the wind like that, it makes it they're just a little harder to notice them. You can see they're really active. It was 84, 85 degrees this day, and snakes were very, very active. They just wasn't a whole lot out because of the wind. Taking him back over to the side-by-side to put him in the snake box, and you'll see River is fixing to come over and get some footage here. Sometimes you'll see 15 or 20 of them laying out around the den like that, but that particular den, he's the only snake we got out of there. We covered quite a bit of ground right there in that area. Didn't find any more. You'll see River comes walking up here as I'm putting the snake up. And with the wind, he couldn't hear the snake laying on the ground rattling. He thought I'd already put it in the box. And so I just happened to tell him, hey, you can see he kind of jumps back there. He almost walked right up on top of that snake. Thing striking, very, very active. So just something that simple, it can go wrong really, really quick. So anyway, we're going to go hit a couple more dens. So let's go see what we find. Well, here we've moved over to another den, and we're just kind of filtering down through here, actually filtering up through this one. We came from the bottom, and Clint and River drove around top and to meet us up top with the side-by-side. And just moving through, seeing any kind of, looking for any kind of movement, listening for anything, looking for any kind of sign of snake. And again, it's not the ones you see that are the problem. It's the ones you don't. And those little ones can really be inconspicuous. But here we're kind of filtering up through and didn't see anything at this one. It was a lot of good looking ground, and they've pulled some nice ones out of there in the past. But today they just weren't out. And again, when it's real windy like that, they don't like to come out. I feel like a lot of that is they can't hear either. And with all the movement and all the brush moving around them, I think it makes it harder for them to see predation coming up. So they have a tendency to lay low, stay a little farther back. But yeah, that's a lot of what you're doing when you're snake hunting these dens like this. We're not gassing. We're just looking for snakes laying out. And so you just move through these rocky den areas, these south-facing rocky hillsides. And again, a lot of times you'll find dozens of them laying out around the den. And I do believe, had it not been as windy as it was here, I think we'd have done a whole lot better than what we did. Right, yeah. It's just so cut up. I mean, it's so cut up with valleys and drainages and trees. Truth.
miss that?
I can't hear you.
How do you just see that?
That's what I'm looking for.
Well, I mean, I'm looking too, but...
I know it. My catcher doesn't have swipe the depth. You might be able to. You got him. Woo! He's not as fast as I thought he was, but. Well, we did hit several more dens after that den. And of course, this was the only other snake that we got that day. We got the two that you've seen here in the video. But that's the gist of it. And it's, ideally you got to have the right weather for it to work out. And we just didn't have great weather on this particular day. We had the nice warm sunshine, but with the wind ripping like that, it just makes it, the snakes just don't want to get out. They don't want to play the game. So we'll sell these snakes. These guys will sell these snakes, and those will end up going to anti-venom. The meat, the skins, they get entirely used. And of course, they like getting the snakes off of the property to keep for safety for the individuals that spend time on the property, for the cattle, for their pets. They kill a lot of snakes right off the porch of their houses there. So try to keep the snakes, cold as much as possible by doing what we're doing here. So anyway, that's the gist of it, and kind of how it works. All right, we are headed home now. Me and River just got done. We come up to pick up that snake from Buddy Clint, picking it up from my friend Shan Garcia. He's wanting to eat one, and I got him a big one last year from the same gentleman. And then I left for Montana for a while and was unable to get the snake to him at a good time. So come up here, picked up another one. We went out and did a little bit of snake hunting. And while we were out snake hunting, I just kept thinking in my mind, this is silly. It's silly. It really is kind of silly. I enjoy it, and I do quite a bit of it. But it's kind of silly because you're kind of out there playing with fire. And about that time, I looked up and there was a bunch of smoke billowing up off the horizon. And one of the guys that was with us is a volunteer fireman, and his phone started beeping and hollering and belly aching, letting him know that there was a blaze going on there. And it was a little out of his jurisdiction, so he didn't necessarily have to leave. But it made me think about a verse in the Bible. It's Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. And it says, "Therefore, since we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off the sin that so easily entangles us." And to cast off, or to throw off, or to get away from. And that's what I was thinking about when I was out there trying to catch them snakes a while ago. It's like, it's kind of dumb to be in here. I'm putting myself in a situation where things could go really, really wrong. And it's probably not a matter of if, but when, if a fella keeps doing that before it is going to go really wrong. We made it through today. We only caught a couple of snakes. I think we got some video of it, so we got through it. But the Bible's clear, that sin that so easily entangles us, to cast it off, to get away from it. Don't go near it. Don't go play with it like we were just doing with these snakes. And obviously somebody probably was doing with the fire recently, because now they're evacuating houses, and it's crazy over here just to our north and east just a little bit. And then just down here in Eastland last week, pandemonium with a fire. So it doesn't necessarily pertain to Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. But it kind of does. And to put myself in that situation with them snakes, if I get snake bit, I really got nobody to lean on to cry about. I can't say, why did this happen to me? Why is life so miserable to me? Well, partly because I'm putting myself down here in the middle of a snake den, risking getting bit by a snake. And it's the same thing with that sin that so easily entangles you. When you keep playing with that garbage and don't wonder why you're caught up and life is going down the toilet, when you continue to dance and romance with that sin that so easily entangles you. So my advice is what Hebrews chapter 12:1 says, and it says to cast it off, to get away from it, separate yourself from that thing that so easily entangles you. Is that encouraging to you? I don't know, but it's wisdom. And I'm not always able to just encourage, but sometimes it's just to give you some good ideas and some good godly wisdom, and that's what that is. So pack that really tight in your pipe, take a couple hits off of it, and just be blessed by it, because God loves you enough to tell you some truth sometimes. Anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching. We've got some catfish videos coming out, and I don't know, probably going to head down to the coast here pretty quick. I'm flying up to Montana for 10 days of elk shed hunting, so hopefully I can get some video of that too. So anyway, much love, blessings, and we'll talk to you soon.